first explosion tears through the lower manufactory levels with a sound that transcends hearing. It becomes pressure, becomes force, becomes a physical thing that slams into my chest even through ceramite plate. My auto-senses screech warning runes across my visor display, and I'm already moving, combat instincts honed over 2 centuries overriding thought. The floor beneath my boots buckles, metal screams. Somewhere in the darkness ahead, cultists are chanting. Their voices a diseased harmony that makes my teeth ache. I should have seen this. Should have known. The intelligence briefing was too clean, too precise. A chaos cult operating in the lower industrial sectors of Hive Gothica, they said. 200 to 300 cultists, poorly armed, hiding in the labyrinthine machinery levels. Standard purge operation. We'd conducted dozens like it. The Raven Guard excel at this work. Strike from shadow, eliminate the corruption, vanish before the enemy knows we were there. But the moment we descended into these depths, something felt wrong. The air tasted of more than industrial effluent and human waste. It tasted of intention, of preparation. A second explosion, and the ceiling above us begins to rain adamantium support beams. Brother Thyrus takes the first one across his shoulders, 2 tons of reinforced metal driving him to his knees. His armor holds, barely. I'm shouting orders into the Vox, coordinating scatter patterns, trying to get us out of the kill zone. But even as the words leave my mouth, I know it's too late. They planned this. Someone fed us false intelligence. Someone wanted us here, in this exact location, at this exact moment. The realization comes with the cold clarity of combat awareness. We're not hunting. We're the prey. Brother Corvin is beside me, his bolt pistol tracking targets in the swirling dust and smoke. He doesn't speak. We've fought together for 89 years, and words are unnecessary. His posture tells me he understands. His slight nod confirms it. We're walking out together or not at all. The cultists emerge from the darkness like a tide, not hundreds, thousands. Their bodies are warped by the touch of the warp, limbs bent at angles that defy human architecture, faces split by too many mouths. They carry industrial equipment repurposed as weapons. Plasma cutters, hydraulic crushers, arc welders modified to project killing energy. Behind them, I catch glimpses of something worse. Tech priests in the corrupted crimson of the dark Mechanicus, their augmetics writhing with malevolent half-life. And further back, in the deepest shadows, shapes that hurt to perceive. Demon engines. This wasn't a purge operation. This was a trap. Brother Valerius dies first. A plasma cutter beam takes him through the neck seal, the only vulnerable point in Mark 7 power armor, if you know precisely where to aim. Whoever planned this knew. His head separates from his body with surgical precision, and his corpse topples forward, servos still firing random impulses through dead limbs. I don't have time to mourn. I'm already firing, bolt rounds punching through corrupted flesh, each shot a prayer to the Emperor and a curse at my own stupidity. The third explosion brings down the western support structure. The entire section of the hive begins to collapse in on itself, a cascade failure of architecture that's been standing for 10,000 years. I see it happening in slow motion, the way combat sometimes dilates time when your enhanced physiology pushes perception beyond human limits. Steel beams the size of transit vehicles, tumbling through smoke-thick air. Plasteel sheeting peeling away from corroded bolts. The very bones of the hive coming apart. Brother Marcion and Brother Thane are crushed together, their armored forms disappearing beneath an avalanche of industrial debris. Their life signs on my visor display wink out simultaneously. 2 more genetic legacies lost. 2 more failures of my command. Corvin is firing in controlled bursts, each bolt round finding a target. His movements are economical, efficient, beautiful, in the way that only centuries of practice can achieve. He's covering my left flank, maintaining the formation even as the formation ceases to have meaning, even as we both know there's no formation that can save us from this. A demon engine emerges from the smoke, all churning blades and furnace heat. Brother Kyle charges it with his chainsword screaming, and for a moment, one brilliant, defiant moment, I think he might actually damage it. His blade bites into corrupted metal, tears through pseudo-flesh grafted to machine components. Then the demon's limb, if it can be called that, swings around and catches him mid-strike. His armor crumples like parchment. Blood, the bright arterial red that even Space Marine physiology can't quite darken, sprays across my visor. I'm screaming orders that no one can hear over the din of collapse and combat. Fall back to secondary position. Regroup at Junction 7 Gamma. Activate emergency beacons. But there is no secondary position. Junction 7 Gamma no longer exists. I watched it disappear beneath tons of falling architecture 30 seconds ago. And our emergency beacons are being jammed by Dark Mechanicus signal corruption. Brother Thyrus, still on his knees from the first support beam strike, takes a hail of stubber fire from 3 directions at once. His armor holds against the first wave, but the sustained fire finds the joints, the seals, the weak points. He pitches forward onto his face, servos locked, life signs failing. 5 brothers dead. 3 remain. Corvin, Brother Soren, and myself. The cultists are pressing in from all sides now, no longer cautious, sensing victory. Their chanting has reached a fever pitch, and I can feel it in my bones, in the genetic modifications that were supposed to make me immune to such things. The warp is pressing close here, the boundary between real and unreal growing thin. This is why they chose this place, not just to kill us, but to ensure our gene seed would be corrupted, unusable. Brother Soren goes down fighting like a Raven Guard should, silently, lethally, taking a dozen enemies with him. But numbers tell. A Dark Mechanicus tech priest, more machine than man, more demon than either, drives a powered claw through his chest plate and out through his back. The claw withdraws with a grinding shriek of ceramite and bone, and Soren falls without a sound. Then it's just Corvin and myself, standing back to back in a shrinking circle of space as the hive collapses around us and the enemy closes in. Corvin speaks for the first time since we entered this hell. His voice is calm, almost conversational, filtered through his helmet vox. It's been an honor, brother. I want to tell him it's not over. Want to tell him we'll fight our way out. That the chapter will send reinforcements. That this is just another battle in a lifetime of battles. But I've never lied to Corvin. And I won't start now. The honor was mine, I say. Above us, a massive section of the hive superstructure breaks free from its moorings. I see it happening in that same stretched combat time. See every rivet shearing, every weld failing. It's falling directly toward us. And there's nowhere to go. The cultists have us surrounded. And even if they didn't, even with our enhanced speed, we couldn't outrun something that size. Corvin sees it too. He reaches out with one gauntleted hand and grips my shoulder. Just for a moment. Just long enough for me to understand what he's saying without words. Then the world ends in thunder and crushing weight. The impact drives me down through layers of corroded flooring, into some sub-level I didn't know existed. My armor takes the brunt of it, but even ceramite has its limits. I feel my left arm break in 3 places, feel ribs crack despite the fused bone structure of my ribcage, feel my primary lung collapse and my secondary lung strain to compensate. The pain is immense, but pain is merely data, merely information. I catalogue it, file it, continue functioning. What stops me isn't the pain, it's the weight. I'm pinned beneath something massive, an adamantium crossbeam, I think, though I can't turn my head enough to see clearly. My right arm is free, still clutching my bolt pistol, but my left is trapped beneath me at an angle that my mind refuses to process. Both legs are buried under rubble. I can't move, can't do anything but lie here in the darkness and dust, listening to the settling groans of a dying hive section. My auto-senses flicker, struggle to compensate for damage to my helmet systems. The visor display is cracked, showing ghost images and false readings, but it's functional enough to tell me what I need to know. 7 life signs terminated, 1 active, mine, the gene seed. I have to think about the gene seed. It's what we're trained to prioritize above all else, even our own survival. The genetic legacy of the Primarch Corax, passed down through generations of Ravengard, implanted in our bodies to create new space marines when we fall. It must be recovered. It must be preserved. But as I lie here in the choking darkness, I can't reach any of my brothers. Can't confirm which bodies might still have viable gene seed. Can't do anything but wait and hope that the chapter sends recovery teams before the Chaos Forces find the corpses and desecrate them. Time becomes elastic in the darkness. Minutes stretch into hours or compress into seconds. I can't tell anymore. My armor's chronometer is damaged, displaying numbers that can't possibly be correct. I try to move, try to leverage the strength of my power armor to shift the weight pinning me. But something is wrong with the servos. They whine and grind but produce no meaningful force. The silence is worse than the noise was. During the ambush, there was at least purpose, direction, the clarity of combat. Now there's nothing but the small sounds of settling rubble and my own breathing, harsh and labored through a damaged respirator. I'm alone in the dark, and for the first time in 237 years, I have nothing to do but think. The thoughts come unbidden, unwelcome. Thoughts I should not be having. Thoughts that my hypno-conditioning should suppress automatically. I failed them. The simple truth of it settles over me like the weight of the rubble. I failed them. Brother Valerius, Brother Marcion, Brother Thane, Brother Cale, Brother Thyrus, Brother Soren, and Corvin. Especially Corvin. I was the ranking officer. I accepted the mission parameters. I led them into this trap. I didn't see what should have been obvious, that the intelligence was too good, too clean, too perfectly designed to draw us in. 2 centuries of experience, and I walked us into an ambush like a fresh neophyte on his first deployment. My mind tries to retreat into tactical analysis, to examine what went wrong from a strategic perspective, to file this as mission failure and move on. That's what I was trained to do. Emotion is weakness. Regret is inefficiency. Accept the loss. Learn from the mistake. Continue serving the Emperor. But something in me won't let go. Can't let go. Corvin's hand on my shoulder in those final seconds. The weight of it. The meaning. It wasn't just comradeship. It wasn't just the bond of battle brothers who fought side by side for nearly a century. It was something deeper, something my conditioning tells me I shouldn't be able to feel. In the darkness, pinned and broken, I finally name it. Love. The word feels alien in my mind, a concept that belongs to baseline humans, not to the angels of death. We were made for war, our capacity for such feelings surgically removed along with so much else. We have duty, we have loyalty, we have the brotherhood of the chapter. But love, that's human weakness. That's what we transcended when we became Space Marines. Except I did love Corvin, do love him, even though he's dead somewhere in the rubble around me. Not the romantic love that baseline humans speak of. I have no frame of reference for that. no biological capacity for it. The hormones that drive such feelings were suppressed or eliminated during my transformation. I observe attraction in others the way one might observe the color spectrum beyond human perception, knowing intellectually that it exists while being unable to experience it. But the bond I shared with Corvin was love nonetheless, the kind that makes you willing to die beside someone, the kind that makes their death feel like losing a piece of yourself. I wonder, in the darkness, if this is what my conditioning is failing, if the cracks that have been forming over these last decades of service are finally breaking wide enough to let human feelings leak through. The pain in my body is becoming more insistent. My Laraman cells are working to clot the worst of the internal bleeding, and my Susan membrane keeps trying to activate, trying to put me into suspended animation to preserve my life. I keep forcing it back down, keep staying conscious, though I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe I want to think. Maybe I need to think. My mind drifts back through decades, through centuries, seeking something solid to anchor to. And what it finds, inevitably, is the beginning. Kiavar, the forge world that orbits deliverance, where the Raven Guard recruit their neophytes from the endless hive cities and industrial wastelands. I was born there, though born seems too gentle a word for being expelled into the underhive with nothing but a designation number and the statistical likelihood of dying before age 10. I remember the underhive the way you remember a dream after waking. Impressions and sensations more than concrete details. The smell of it, chemical and organic decay mixing into something that coated your throat and lungs. The sound of it, millions of people packed into spaces never designed for habitation, the constant echo of voices and machinery and violence, the feel of it, the press of bodies in narrow corridors, the slickness of water that wasn't quite water, running down corroded metal walls. I survived by being fast and quiet and mean when necessary. Joined a gang, the Rust Eaters we called ourselves, a collection of children and adolescents who ran messages and contraband through the middle hive levels. It wasn't noble work, wasn't anything approaching noble, but it kept you fed and alive, which was more than most could say. I remember a fight. Not the reason for it. Those details are lost to time and transformation. But I remember the fight itself with perfect clarity. 6 of us cornered by a rival gang in one of the abandoned industrial sectors. They had us outnumbered, outgunned, trapped against a dead-end corridor. We should have died there. I went first, not because I was brave, but because I was angry. Angry at being cornered, angry at the unfairness of it, angry at the entire rotten structure of underhive existence. I hit the first one with a length of pipe hard enough to cave in his skull. Hit the second one before the first had finished falling. The rest of my gang found their courage and joined in, and somehow we won. Left 6 bodies cooling in the dark and ran before their friends could find us. I didn't know we were being watched. The Raven Guard recruit from the shadows. It's what we do, what defines us. They don't announce themselves, don't send representatives to the underhive to hold trials and tests. They watch, they observe, they identify those who have the qualities they need: aggression, intelligence, survival instinct, the willingness to strike first and hard. 3 days after that fight, I was running a message through the lower industrial levels when a hand emerged from the darkness and grabbed me. Not roughly, but with irresistible strength. I tried to fight, tried to stab whoever had grabbed me with the knife I kept in my boot. The knife broke against ceramite armor. A voice in the darkness filtered through a helmet vox, speaking low Gothic with an accent I'd never heard. You have potential, child. You will serve the Emperor, or you will die in this filth. choose. It wasn't really a choice. I said yes because saying no would have meant death, and I wanted to live. That's all. That's the sum total of my great decision to become a space marine, choosing not to die in the underhive when a better option presented itself. They took me up through levels I'd never seen, up through the middle hive and the upper hive, up past the point where the sky was just a rumor to the point where I could actually see it. Kiava's sky, choked with industrial pollution, lit by the glow of forge complexes, but sky nonetheless. I'd never seen anything so vast. Then further up, into orbit, onto a strike cruiser, and from there, across the void to Deliverance, the moon where the Raven Guard make their fortress monastery. That first sight of the void, the absolute black between stars, the insignificance of worlds hanging in nothing, should have been terrifying. And it was. But it was also beautiful in a way I had no words for. Still don't really. How do you describe infinity to someone who's only ever known corridors and confined spaces? The trials began immediately. They were designed to break you, to separate those who could become space marines from those who would merely die trying. I remember the cold. The fortress monastery on Deliverance is carved into the moon's surface, and they led us deep into its bowels, where the rock itself seemed to leach heat from your bones. We ran through tunnels in the darkness, pursued by chapter serfs with shock staves, told that the slow would be culled. 3 boys died in the first trial. Hypothermia, exhaustion, simply giving up and sitting down to wait for death. The second trial was pain tolerance. They strapped us to tables and applied stimuli designed to test our threshold. Electric shock, pressure points, thermal extremes. You weren't allowed to scream. If you screamed, you failed. I bit through my tongue rather than scream, swallowed my own blood, and remained silent. The boy next to me screamed. They removed him. I never saw him again. Trial after trial, day after day, though there was no day or night in the depths of Deliverance, only the endless grind of testing and culling. Combat trials where we fought each other with training weapons, told that mercy was weakness. Psychological trials where they probed your mind, your fears, your capacity for loyalty. Spiritual trials where we were made to recite the Imperial Creed until our voices failed. I survived because I was too stubborn to die. Because every time I wanted to give up, I remembered the underhive, remembered the fight in the corridor, remembered the waste of dying there when I'd been offered this chance. I wasn't fighting for the Emperor yet. I barely understood what the Emperor was. I was fighting to not be nothing. Out of the 40 boys who entered the trials with me, 11 survived to begin the transformation process. The surgeries. Emperor, preserve me, the surgeries. They don't prepare you for what it's like. They can't. How do you prepare someone for having their body fundamentally rewritten at the genetic level? How do you explain the sensation of foreign organs being implanted into your flesh, your bones being broken and rebuilt, your brain being altered to accept implants and enhancements? The first implant was the secondary heart. I remember waking from the anesthetic, if you could call the combat drugs they used anesthetic, to find my chest on fire. 2 hearts beating, out of sync at first, my body's natural rhythm fighting against the invasive addition. The pain was beyond anything the trials had inflicted. I wanted to rip my chest open, tear out the foreign thing that was causing such agony. They strapped me down until my body adjusted. The os modular came next, the organ that would reinforce and restructure my skeleton. That was worse. Bone-deep pain that went on for weeks as my frame literally grew and changed. My skull thickening, my ribs fusing, my long bones hardening with ceramic deposits. I was growing, changing into something that wasn't quite human anymore. Then the Biscopea, making my muscles dense and powerful. The Hemastamen changing my blood. The Laraman's organ, giving me rapid clotting capabilities. The catalepsian node, allowing me to sleep with half my brain at a time. The Preomna, making my digestion able to handle anything. The Omophageia, letting me absorb memories from genetic material. Each implant came with its own flavor of agony. Each one pushed me further from humanity and closer to something else. 2 more aspirants died during the transformation. Their bodies rejected the implants, or the implants worked too well, or some genetic incompatibility emerged. They writhed and screamed and eventually bled out on surgical tables, while the apothecaries took notes and adjusted their protocols for the next batch. I survived. I survived it all. The black carapace, the final implant, the interface layer under my skin that would let me bond with power armor, went in without complications. I was declared viable. I was no longer an aspirant or a neophyte. I was a space marine of the Raven Guard. I was 13 years old and I'd been turned into a weapon. But the physical transformation was only part of it. The hypno-conditioning came after, and in some ways, that was the most profound change of all. They strap you into machines that look like torture devices, and probably are. They place you in a state between sleep and waking, and they begin to rewrite who you are. Layer by layer, thought by thought, they build the mental architecture that makes you a space marine. Loyalty to the Emperor above all else, hatred of the alien, the mutant, the heretic, fearlessness in combat, suppression of emotions that might interfere with duty, the ability to accept orders without question, the capacity to kill without hesitation or remorse. It's not brainwashing exactly. Your core personality remains. Your memories remain. But they're overlaid with something else, something artificial and imposed. Like building a fortress around a city. The city is still there, but it's contained, controlled, directed by the walls around it. I remember the sensation of it, barely. The feeling of thoughts that weren't quite mine being placed in my head. The strange dissonance of simultaneously knowing something was being done to you and being unable to resist it. The gradual erosion of the person you were into the thing you were becoming. When I emerged from the conditioning, I was Uriel Vex. The boy from the Underhive was still in there somewhere, but he was buried deep, locked away behind mental conditioning that made it almost impossible to access those old feelings and thoughts. Almost impossible. Not quite impossible. Lying here in the dark, pinned and dying, I can feel those walls crumbling. The conditioning that held for 2 centuries is finally failing, and the boy from the Underhive is clawing his way back to the surface. He has questions. The boy has questions that the Space Marine was never supposed to ask. What did they take from me? What did I lose when they made me into this? I know intellectually what was removed or suppressed. The capacity for sexual attraction, eliminated through hormonal manipulation and psychological conditioning. The drive to form romantic partnerships, rendered irrelevant by my transformation. The possibility of family. I'm sterile by design. My genetic material too altered to produce offspring even if the instinct remained. These were seen as distractions, weaknesses, things that would interfere with my purpose as a warrior. But lying here, facing my own death, I find myself wondering about them with a curiosity that borders on mourning. What would it be like to see a woman and feel attraction? Not the clinical observation I'm capable of, noting that baseline humans find certain features appealing, understanding the evolutionary biology behind mate selection, but the actual felt experience of desire. I've observed it in others. In the Imperial Guard soldiers we've fought alongside, the way their eyes track certain people. In the population of hive worlds we've defended, the complex dances of courtship and pairing. I've read poetry about it, heard songs, seen artwork depicting it, but I can't feel it. The neural pathways that would allow such feelings were either never fully developed or were suppressed so thoroughly that they might as well not exist. Is that a loss? Or is it freedom from a distraction? The space marine in me, the thing I was made to be, says it's no loss at all, that such feelings are weakness, that they cloud judgment, that they make you vulnerable, that my inability to feel them makes me a more effective warrior. But the boy from the underhive, surfacing now after 2 centuries, whispers that maybe something precious was taken, that maybe the experience of attraction, of choosing a partner, of building something with another person, maybe that's part of what makes us human, part of what makes life worth living. And without it, what am I? A weapon. Incredibly effective, brutally efficient, but still just a weapon. A tool of the Imperium pointed at its enemies and unleashed. Did I ever have a choice in that? Number. The answer is no. I was 13 when they took me, old enough to have some nascent sense of self, but not old enough to truly understand what I was agreeing to. I said yes, because the alternative was death in the underhive. That's not informed consent, that's survival. Would I have chosen this if I'd truly understood? If I'd known that I was trading my humanity for service, my potential for family and connection for the brotherhood of the chapter? I don't know. I can't know. That choice was made for me by circumstance, and there's no changing it now. But I can recognize it as a loss, can acknowledge that something was taken from me, even if it was necessary, even if it served a greater purpose. Corvin. My thoughts keep circling back to Corvin. I met him during the final stages of our training, after the implants, but before full induction into the chapter. We were in the same combat indoctrination group, learning to work as a unit, learning to trust our battle brothers with our lives. He was from the underhive too, pulled from a different gang in a different sector. But we recognized something in each other, some shared understanding of where we'd come from, what we'd been before this. We didn't speak of it, didn't need to, but when we fought together in training exercises, there was a synchronicity that went beyond tactical coordination. We understood each other's movements, anticipated each other's actions. When we were assigned to the same tactical squad after induction, I was relieved. When we were both promoted and I found myself commanding a squad that included him, I was grateful. 89 years we fought together. Dozens of campaigns, hundreds of battles, thousands of enemies killed. He saved my life 7 times that I can count, probably more that I can't. I saved his a comparable number. We developed a form of communication that didn't require words. A glance, a hand signal, a shift in stance that spoke volumes. Was that love? I think it was. I think it is. Not romantic love, I don't have the capacity for that. But love as absolute trust. Love as the willingness to stand back to back against impossible odds. Love as knowing that if one of you falls, the other will carry on and remember. Love as that hand on my shoulder in the final seconds, saying everything that needed to be said without words. The Space Marine in me recoils from naming it that. Love is a human emotion, and we are supposed to be beyond such things. We have brotherhood. We have loyalty. We have bonds of duty and honor. But what are those things if not forms of love? What is brotherhood if not love between those who have shared danger and death? What is loyalty if not loving the person or institution you're loyal to enough to die for them? I loved Corvin. I love him still, even though he's dead somewhere in this rubble. And recognizing that, naming it, feels like both a failure of my conditioning and a reclaiming of something essential. If I had remained human, if the Raven Guard had never found me, if I'd lived out my life in the Underhive, would I have experienced other forms of love? Romantic love, perhaps. Finding someone in the darkness of the Underhive, someone who understood the struggle, who shared the fight to survive. Building something together, however fragile and temporary. Familial love. Children, maybe. Though the thought seems alien, I can't imagine being responsible for a child's life when my own was so precarious. But maybe if I'd lived long enough, survived long enough. The love of choosing your own path, of having agency over your life, however limited that agency might be in the Underhive. I gave all that up. Or rather, it was taken from me, traded for power, for purpose, for the chance to matter in a universe where most humans live and die without leaving a trace. Was it a fair trade? I've killed thousands in service to the Emperor. Tens of thousands, probably, over 2 centuries of warfare. Orcs and tyrannids and heretics and traitors and things that defy classification. I've defended worlds and saved populations and struck back against the enemies of humanity. My life has had meaning, has had purpose. I've been part of something larger than myself, part of the Imperium's desperate struggle to survive in a galaxy that wants us dead. That's not nothing. That's worth something. But lying here in the dark, broken and dying, I find myself wondering if meaning is enough, if purpose can substitute for choice, if being part of something larger than yourself is worth losing the chance to be yourself at all. I don't have answers, only questions. The pain is getting worse. My body's damage control systems are beginning to fail. I can feel it in the way my thoughts are becoming harder to organize, in the way my vision keeps graying out at the edges even though my eyes are closed. My Susan membrane keeps trying to activate. It's the body's last defense, the biological imperative to survive overriding everything else. If I let it trigger, I'll enter suspended animation. My body will shut down to the bare minimum necessary to sustain life. I might survive long enough for rescue, but I keep forcing it back down, keep staying conscious. Why? Because I failed them. Because 7 of my brothers are dead and it's my fault. Because Corvin died following my orders, trusting my judgment, and my judgment was catastrophically wrong. Because a space marine who leads his entire squad into annihilation doesn't deserve to survive. The thought should feel noble, self-sacrificing, but it doesn't. It feels like cowardice masquerading as honor. I'm choosing death because I can't face what comes after. Can't face the chapter's judgment. Can't face the empty spaces where my brothers should be. Can't face my own failure reflected in the eyes of those who remain. That's not nobility. That's just giving up. But maybe giving up is all I have left. Maybe there's mercy in choosing when and how you die, rather than letting the universe decide for you. I remember the chaplains during our indoctrination, speaking of duty unto death, of how a space marine's only true failure is failing to serve. As long as you die in service to the Emperor, your life has meaning. But they never spoke about what happens when you survive something your brothers didn't, when you lead them to their deaths and have to live with that knowledge. I don't want to live with it, can't live with it, so I won't. Time passes. I have no idea how much. My chronometer is still malfunctioning, and my internal sense of time, usually precise, is deteriorating along with everything else. I drift in and out of something that isn't quite consciousness. Memories and present reality blur together. I'm back in the Underhive, running through corridors that smell of oil and desperation. I'm in the surgical suite, feeling the black carapace being installed beneath my skin. I'm on my first combat deployment, 20 years old, and convinced of my own invincibility. I'm lying in the dark with Corvin's hand on my shoulder, and he's telling me it's been an honor, and I'm trying to find words to tell him what he means to me. But the words don't exist in the vocabulary I was given. I'm dying, and I know it, and some part of me is glad. Voices. I hear voices, distant and distorted. Footsteps, the heavy tread of powered armor. Vox chatter on emergency frequencies. The rescue team. They've found us. Part of me, the part that's still a space marine, still driven by duty and training, wants to call out, wants to guide them to my position, ensure the recovery of the fallen's gene seed. But another part, the part that's been growing stronger as my conditioning crumbles, stays silent. I hear them moving through the rubble, hear the whine of servo arms clearing debris, hear the apothecaries calling out vital signs as they find my brothers' bodies. Gene seed recovery, negative. Subject terminated, corruption evident. That would be one of the brothers who fell in the initial ambush. The chaos forces got to him, desecrated the body. Gene seed recovered, viable. Transport to stasis immediately. Another brother. At least one legacy survives. They're working methodically, clearing section by section. It's only a matter of time before they reach my position. I should make a sound, should help them find me. But I lie still and quiet, and my silence feels like a choice. The first real choice I've made in decades. Life signs detected. We have a survivor. They've found me. The voices get closer. I hear them coordinating the removal of the debris pinning me. Feel the weight beginning to shift as they apply mechanical leverage. An apothecary's face appears in my cracked visor display, helmet removed so I can see his features. I don't recognize him. He must be from a different company. His expression is professionally neutral, but I can see the concern in his eyes. Brother Vex, remain still. We're extracting you now. I want to tell him not to bother. Want to tell him to focus on recovering the gene seed from my fallen brothers, that my life isn't worth the effort. But my Vox is damaged, and the words won't come. They're lifting the beam off my chest. The pressure eases, and paradoxically, the pain increases. My body has been using the compression to slow internal bleeding. Removing it is like opening a dam. The apothecary is scanning me with a narthecium, his expression growing more serious as he reads the data. I can imagine what he's seeing. Multiple organ failures, catastrophic structural damage, internal hemorrhaging that my Laraman cells can't keep pace with. Even for a space marine, even with our redundant systems and enhanced healing, the damage is severe. We need immediate case vac, he's saying into the Vox. Priority Alpha. Subject is critical, but stable for transport. Stable. The word is a lie, but a necessary one. They need to believe I can be saved, so they'll continue working. So they'll get me to the strike cruiser's apothecarian where proper treatment can be administered. I don't want to be saved. The thought is clear and undeniable. I don't want to survive this. Don't want to face the chapter. Don't want to see the empty spaces in our formation. Don't want to file reports explaining how I led 7 brothers to their deaths. I can feel my Susan membrane trying to activate again, my body's last-ditch survival mechanism. It's strong now, insistent, overriding my conscious will. My physiology wants to live even if I don't, but I'm stronger than my physiology. That's what 2 centuries of experience teaches you. Absolute control over your own biological systems. I can slow my hearts, can regulate my breathing, can suppress automatic responses. I can choose not to survive. The apothecary is working on me now, injecting combat stimulants, applying trauma dressings, stabilizing me for transport. His hands are efficient, practiced. He's done this hundreds of times, saved hundreds of battle brothers from the edge of death. He doesn't know I don't want to be saved. They're lifting me onto a grav stretcher. The movement sends fresh waves of agony through my body, and I catalogue it distantly, file it away. Pain is just information. I've learned to separate myself from it, to observe it without being consumed by it. Except I don't want to separate from it anymore. I want to feel it. Want to feel everything I've been conditioned not to feel. I want to feel grief for my fallen brothers. Want to feel rage at the enemies who killed them. Want to feel the crushing weight of guilt for leading them into this trap. I want to feel human again, even if it's only for these final moments. They're moving me through the rubble field, the stretcher's anti-grav units compensating for the uneven terrain. I catch glimpses of the carnage through my cracked visor. Bodies, cultist and space marine both, scattered among the debris. Blood dried to black on shattered ceramite. The twisted remains of demon engines, their corruption leaving stains on reality itself. This was supposed to be a simple purge operation. 200 to 300 cultists. Standard tactics. Standard outcome. Instead, it was a massacre. They were waiting for us. Knew we were coming. Prepared the perfect killing ground. Someone betrayed us. Someone in the Imperium's intelligence network. Someone with access to operational details. Fed us false information with the specific intent of getting us killed. The tactical part of my mind, still functioning despite everything, notes this. Files it away as crucial information that needs to reach chapter command. There's a traitor in our information pipeline, possibly corrupted by chaos, possibly in a position to do this again. I should tell them. Should make sure this information gets passed up the chain. Should ensure that my brother's death serves some purpose, provide some lesson that might save lives in the future. But the words won't come. My vox is damaged, yes, but more than that, I don't have the will to speak. Don't have the will to do anything but lie here and let the darkness take me. Brother Vex, the apothecary's voice, close to my helmet. He's kneeling beside the stretcher, his face looming in my visor. Brother Vex, can you hear me? Respond if you can. I could respond, could activate my vox, could speak, could engage, but I remain silent. His expression shifts, concern deepening. He's checking his instruments again, reading my vital signs. And I know what he's seeing now. My hearts are beating, but slowly, too slowly. My breathing is shallow. My body is shutting down system by system, not from damage alone, but from will. He knows what I'm doing. I can see the recognition in his eyes. Brother Vex, he says, and his voice has changed. It's softer now, almost pleading. Don't do this. We can save you. The chapter needs you. Your experience, your knowledge. We can't afford to lose that. He's wrong. The chapter doesn't need me. Doesn't need a commander who gets his entire squad killed. Doesn't need genetic material from a warrior who proved himself unworthy. My gene seed can die with me. It's better that way. Better than risking it producing more failed leaders, more warriors who'll make the same mistakes I did. They're loading me onto a Thunderhawk now. I can hear the familiar whine of the transport's engines, feel the slight lurch as the grav stretcher locks into the medical bay mounts. Other voices around me, other apothecaries and chapter serfs preparing for emergency treatment during the flight. Someone is working on my helmet seals, preparing to remove it so they can treat me more effectively. I feel the clicks and hisses as the seals disengage, and then my helmet is lifted away. The air hits my face, cold and dust-laden and real. I open my eyes for the first time since the collapse, and the light from the Thunderhawk's medical bay is painful after so long in the dark. The apothecary is looking down at me. He's young by Space Marine standards, maybe 80 years of service, judging by the scarring and the service studs in his forehead. He's seen death before, certainly, but he's looking at me with something that seems almost like fear. "Brother," he says quietly, so the others can't hear. "Please, tell me what happened. Tell me about the ambush. Give us something to report to the chapter master. Your brothers deserve that much. My brothers." He's right about that, at least. They deserve better than to have died for nothing, their deaths unrecorded, their sacrifice unacknowledged. I try to speak. My throat is raw, damaged from breathing dust and blood. The words come out as a rasp, barely audible even in the relative quiet of the medical bay. Betrayed, intelligence, compromised, not hundreds, thousands, dark mechanicus, demon engines, prepared, specifically for us. The apothecary leans closer, recording every word on his data slate. Who betrayed you? Where did the intelligence come from? Don't know. Find out. Stop them from doing it again. He nods, fingers moving rapidly across the slate. Is there anything else? Anything about the engagement that we need to know? So many things. The way Brother Valerius died in the first seconds, beheaded by a plasma cutter that struck with surgical precision. The way the explosives were timed to create maximum confusion and prevent retreat. The way the cultists moved with more coordination than cultists should have, suggesting command-level leadership. But I don't have the breath to explain it all. Don't have the will to relive every detail of the failure. Gene seed, I manage. Corvin. His gene seed, was it recovered? The apothecary's expression tells me the answer before he speaks. I'm sorry, brother. His remains were, the corruption had already begun. His progenoid glands were destroyed. Corvin's gene seed is lost. Not just his life, but his genetic legacy. The future warriors who might have carried his genetic material, gone. Centuries of careful genetic preservation, the unbroken chain stretching back to the Primarch Corax himself. Broken. Because of me. Because I led him into a trap. Something breaks in me at that confirmation. Some last thread holding me to duty, to the will to survive. If I live, I have to carry this. Have to know that not only did I get Corvin killed, but I destroyed the future of the bloodline he carried. That's not a burden I can bear, not one I will bear. The apothecary sees the change in my expression, sees the decision crystallizing. Brother Vex, no. Whatever you're thinking, but he can't stop me. No one can stop a space marine who has decided to die. We have too much control over our own physiology, too much understanding of how our bodies work. I'm shutting down, system by system, organ by organ. My primary heart first, slowing its rhythm until it's barely beating. My secondary heart trying to compensate but following suit as I exert my will over it. My lungs expanding shallower and shallower, my Laraman cells ceasing their clotting efforts, letting the internal bleeding resume. The apothecary is shouting now, calling for assistance, injecting me with stimulants that my body simply refuses to process. Alarms are sounding on the medical equipment, warning of cascade failure. But there's nothing they can do. I'm dying, and I'm choosing to die, and that makes all the difference. The Thunderhawk is lifting off. I can feel the acceleration, the shift to vertical flight. We're leaving the collapse site, leaving the bodies of my brothers behind. The chapter's recovery teams will gather them. We'll harvest what gene seed can be salvaged. We'll record their deaths in the great archives. 7 of 8 recovered, 1 lost to corruption. 8 of 8 failed by their commander. My vision is starting to grey at the edges, not from damage now, but from oxygen deprivation, as my breathing becomes more shallow. The apothecary's face swims in and out of focus. He's still trying to save me, still working with desperate efficiency. But I'm beyond saving. Not because of my injuries, because of my choice. Is this courage or cowardice? I can't tell anymore. Dying rather than facing failure. Is that noble self-sacrifice or just running away? Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe the only thing that matters is that I'm going to where Corvin is, wherever that might be. If there's anything after death for creatures like us, transhuman weapons with human souls, then maybe I'll find him there. Maybe I can apologize, can tell him that I'm sorry I didn't see the trap, sorry I led him to his death, sorry that his gene seed was lost, sorry that I loved him and never said it, never acknowledged it, because I was too conditioned, too controlled, too much the weapon and not enough the person. I want to tell him now, want to say the words aloud, but I don't have the breath anymore. My lungs are barely moving. My hearts are beating once every 3 seconds, then every 4, then every 5. The apothecary has stopped trying to save me. I can see it in his posture, in the way he's stopped reaching for instruments and is simply watching. He knows. He understands. "Emperor, receive you, brother," he says quietly. "Your service is ended. Your duty is complete. But my duty isn't complete." That's the lie we tell ourselves, that dying in service somehow fulfills our purpose. My duty was to keep my brothers alive, and I failed. There's no completion in that, no honor, no redemption. There's just failure, and the choice to not live with it. My vision is narrowing now, closing in to a tunnel. The Thunderhawk's medical bay is fading, becoming indistinct. Sound is becoming distant, muffled, like I'm underwater. I'm dying. For 237 years, I've been an instrument of death. I've killed in the Emperor's name, ended thousands of lives, brought finality to enemy after enemy. But I've never experienced it myself, never understood what it's like to feel your life slipping away, to sense the approaching void. It's not what I expected. I thought death would be violent, sudden, a shock of pain and then nothing. But this is gradual, gentle almost. A slow fade rather than an abrupt cut. I can see things in the darkness at the edge of my vision. Probably just oxygen deprivation causing hallucinations, the brain's last firings before shutdown. But I let myself believe otherwise. I see the underhive where I was born, the corridors I ran through as a child, the shadows where I hid from gang rivals, the cramped spaces where my gang gathered to split contraband and plan raids. It's all there, preserved in memory, more vivid now than it's been in decades. I see the Raven Guard scout who pulled me from that life. His armor black as midnight, his voice filtered through the vox, offering me a choice that wasn't really a choice. I never knew his name, never saw his face. He was just a shadow that reached out and changed the trajectory of my existence. I wonder if he ever thinks about the boys he recruits, if he tracks their service records, notes their victories and failures, if he feels any responsibility for what they become. I wonder if he knows that the boy he pulled from the underhive 237 years ago is dying now, broken and guilty, and choosing death over duty. I see the surgical suites where I was remade, the cold metal tables, the gleaming instruments, the apothecaries working with dispassionate precision to transform human children into transhuman warriors. I remember the pain of it, the sense of violation as my body was cut open and altered, piece by piece. But I also remember the sense of becoming something more. The first time I lifted weight that should have been impossible. The first time I ran at speeds that would have shattered baseline human joints. The first time I realized I could perceive the world in ways I never could before. With senses enhanced beyond natural limits, It was terrible and wonderful at once, and I've never known which feeling should dominate. I see Corvin, not as he was at the end, crushed beneath falling hive structure, but as he was when we first met. Young, by Space Marine standards, only a few decades of service, his armor still relatively unmarked by battle, his movements still carrying a hint of the baseline human he'd been before transformation. We were assigned to the same training exercise, a live fire drill in the wastelands of Deliverance, hunting training servitors programmed to fight back. We ended up partnered by chance, and that chance partnership became something deeper. I remember the first time we fought together, really fought, synchronized without planning or communication. It was against an orc warband on some forgotten frontier world. I can't even remember the planet's name now. But I remember the way Corvin moved, the way I could predict his actions and adjust mine to complement them, the way we became not two warriors, but a single weapon with two bodies. After that battle, we requested permanent assignment together. Our sergeant approved it, noting in his report that some battle brothers simply fight better together, that the bond between them makes both more effective. He didn't call it love, wouldn't have used that word, but that's what it was. For 89 years, Corvin and I fought side by side. We deployed to dozens of war zones. We killed in the Emperor's name together. We saved each other's lives more times than I can count, and at the end, I led him into a trap and got him killed. I want to apologize to him, want to tell him I'm sorry, but he's not here. He's dead in the rubble we're leaving behind. His body broken, his gene seed corrupted and lost. Unless the hallucination becomes merciful and shows him to me anyway. And it does. In the darkness at the edge of my fading vision, Corvin appears. Not as he was in life, scarred and ancient and worn by centuries of war, but younger. The way I remember him from our early years together, before the weight of service had marked us both so deeply. He's not in armor. I've never seen him without armor, not really. Space Marines live in their war gear, bonded to it through the black carapace interface. But here, in this hallucination, this dying dream, he's unarmored, just himself, whatever self remains under all the modification and conditioning. He's smiling at me. That gentle half smile that he used to give me after difficult battles. The expression that said, "We survived again," without needing words. I try to speak, try to apologize, but I can't make my voice work anymore. My lungs have stopped drawing breath. My hearts have stopped beating. I'm moments from complete neural shutdown. But somehow Corvin understands anyway. He reaches out, and I feel it. Feel the phantom touch of his hand on my shoulder, exactly as it was in those final seconds before the collapse. "It's been an honor, brother," he says. The same words he spoke then, but now I can respond. Not with words, I still can't form words, but with the understanding that comes in this liminal space between life and death. I can finally say what I should have said 89 years ago, what I should have said 1,000 times in all the years we fought together. I loved you, not with human love, not with anything baseline humans would recognize, but with the deep, absolute bond that transcends words and duty and conditioning, with the willingness to stand beside you against any enemy, with the trust that comes from shared danger and shared survival, with the knowledge that you were the one person in the galaxy who understood me, who saw past the conditioning and the armor and the weapon to whatever human remnant remained inside. I loved you, and I'm sorry I never said it. I'm sorry I got you killed. I'm sorry your gene seed is lost. I'm sorry for all of it. Corvin's smile doesn't fade. He doesn't absolve me. This is just a dying hallucination after all, my brain's last attempt to make meaning from meaninglessness. But the smile seems to say that forgiveness isn't necessary, that he understood all along, that the bond between us never needed words. Maybe that's enough. Maybe that's all I can ask for. The darkness is complete now. No more medical bay, no more thunderhawk, no more physical reality. Just the void, and Corvin's presence in it, and the sense of finally letting go. My neural activity is ceasing. My brain is shutting down neuron by neuron, consciousness fragmenting and dissolving. This is it. This is death. And in these final fractional seconds, I find myself thinking not about duty or service or the emperor, not about the chapter or the imperium or the great war we've been fighting for 10,000 years. I think about the boy in the underhive who never got to choose his path, who was pulled from one life and thrust into another, who was remade into a weapon before he understood what he was giving up. I think about all the things that boy might have experienced if he'd lived a normal human life. Love in all its forms, partnership, choice, the simple freedom to decide who and what he wanted to be. He never got those things. I never got those things. But I got other things instead. I got purpose. I got brotherhood. I got to stand beside warriors like Corvin and fight for something larger than myself. Was it worth it? Was the trade fair? I'll never know. Can't know. The choice was made for me too long ago. But I can acknowledge the loss. Can recognize that something precious was taken, even if something else was given in return. I can be grateful for what I had, even as I mourn what I never could have. And I can choose, here at the end, to follow Corvin into whatever darkness awaits. To not be without him again, even if it means abandoning duty and service and all the things I was made to prioritize. I can choose love over duty. I can choose to be human, one last time before the end. My final thought, the last electrical impulse firing across dying synapses, is simple and clear. I am Uriel Vex. I was born in the underhive of Kievar. I was made into a weapon of the Imperium. I served for 237 years. I failed my brothers. I loved them anyway. I am human. I am transhuman. I am both and neither. And I am done. The darkness swallows everything. The void opens beneath me, and I fall into it gratefully, following Corvin's phantom presence into whatever lies beyond. My body, lying on the grav stretcher in the Thunderhawk's medical bay, finally gives up its last pretense of life. My heart stops completely. My brain waves flatline. The apothecary checks for any sign of revival, finds none, and marks the time of death in his log. Brother Uriel Vex, Raven Guard, 237 years of service. Killed in action during ambush on Hydra Candida. Gene seed recovery, negative. Cause of death, catastrophic trauma, and voluntary cessation of life functions. The report will note my failure of command, will record the loss of 7 battle brothers under my leadership, will mark Corvin's gene seed as permanently lost, a tragedy that will echo through chapter records for decades. But the report won't mention what I learned in my final moments, won't note that I discovered love in the space between duty and death, won't record that I chose, at the end, to be human rather than weapon. That knowledge dies with me, unrecorded and unacknowledged. And maybe that's fitting. Maybe some truths are too dangerous to survive, too human to be allowed in a universe that needs us to be more and less than human at once. The Thunderhawk continues its flight, carrying my body and the recovered gene seed of my fallen brothers back to the fleet, back to the chapter, back to the great war that never ends. But I'm not on that Thunderhawk anymore. I'm not anywhere anymore. I'm with Corvin in the darkness, and that's enough. That has to be enough. The void takes me, and I embrace it, and I am finally, mercifully, at peace.